Hello. Hi, hello. Okay, I think I'm good. Let me just move this around a little bit so I can get comfortable. This is so weird. Hi, I'm Rudy. I I've been wanting to make videos for a while now. I just turned 25 this year, and I was thinking about how if I could go back and watch videos, or not go back, I guess you would say, but if I could see videos of maybe a family member when they were this age, or maybe my own father or my mother or a friend, I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to. I would have loved to hear what they thought. Um, and of course, my look. I know. I only plan on stating my intentions in this first video just because this is probably going to be the first video. I just want to make a video of my thoughts. Right now, for my full-time job, I do content creation for businesses. I don't make anything for myself. I was very creative at one point in my life, in the sense of, well, I guess I still am, but in the sense of I wasn't just doing it for money. I would do it for fun. And I should probably put my phone on silent. I did it because it made me feel good. I did it because it was an outlet for me to express myself. And I'm basically trying to accomplish or capture the same thing now. So here are my clearly stated goals. I really just want to document myself, document my life. I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, and I was thinking to myself, these guys are so lazy. People want to watch them. Why don't they pump out more content? Why don't they do another podcast? Why don't they do another episode every week if they could? Why don't they pump out more stuff? And I told myself, I said, well, if I was in their shoes, I would make a video like this and I would do that. And I realized that sounds like a loser. I'm like, that's a loser mentality of, if I had their following, I would do this. And that kind of leads into the next subject is, I'm not doing this for fame or for notoriety. That's one of the reasons why, I don't even know if I use that word right, but that's one of the reasons why I started painting. I used to paint a lot, draw a lot, and I tried to post my stuff sometimes, and there were I would get compliments or whatever, but I never did it for that. And I appreciated those people that did say those really nice things, and that really pushed me to go on to more creative endeavors. But I want this to help myself, I guess, if I'm being 100% honest. It's coming from a selfish place. It's not coming from a place of I want to help other people. I mean, I do. In a perfect world, obviously, I'd help who I could. And I can see my next door neighbor, or not my neighbor, but the apartment next door. He probably is going to start cutting a piece of wood, so I'm probably going to have to move. But I want to do this to, obviously, yes, if someone watches it and they like it, that's fantastic. If they can get something out of it, that's fantastic. But unfortunately, but also at the same time, sorry, not sorry. I'm doing it for me. And I think in order for, just like anything, if you're going to be a better husband, a better father, which I'm not either one of those things yet, but I'm working on it. Um, you have to be a better you first. Um, so I think that that's really important. So that's basically my clearly stating my intentions. Um, so let's kind of get into it. So the very first, I guess you would say, like episode, I guess, or the first entry, uh, it's going to be about anxiety, and for a huge portion of my life, for a huge portion of my life, anxiety has controlled me. Um, it's controlled me more than I would like to admit. Uh, it started when I was younger. Maybe I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I remember I went to my mom and I told her, like, I have a really hard time breathing, and she did what any amazing parent would do and take me to the hospital and took me to a doctor, and say, hey, my son is having shortness of breath. He's having difficulty breathing. Can you help? Long story short, ran tests, and there was nothing wrong. My breathing was at 100%. I was fine. And that made me really worried as a kid, which kind of started the anxiety, because I'm like, well, maybe what's wrong with me? Why am I having a problem? And I think that is kind of where it all started, where I stopped feeling, I guess you'd say, like, kind of normal. From there, I guess it kind of led into developing a social anxiety of being afraid to talk to people. When I was a kid, my goal was to be a chef. I wanted to be a chef. I thought cooking was fantastic. I've always been, a bigger, I guess you'd say, guy, especially as a kid, being a fat kid. Food is great, right? Food is awesome. So I wanted to be a chef. And, I was super into like Action Bronson, which he had the series That's Delicious. And by the way, I'm probably going to be censoring these, so you probably didn't hear me say that word right now. But I was a huge fan of Action Bronson, Anthony Bourdain. I really admire these guys. I really loved hip hop and the culture that kind of intertwined with the food. I thought it was so cool, and that's really what I wanted to do. So even before that, in high school, I could safely assume that, I don't want to describe my, oh great, yeah, that's probably going to be loud, whatever. We're going through the motions here. If there's an issue, we're just going to write it out. But where was I? I was talking about in high school. I remember suffering a lot in high school when it came to being, antisocial. I remember spending a lot of time alone, being really toxic, being really rude, and I think a big reason for that was because of my anxiety. It's not an excuse. I don't have an anxiety diagnosis. However, I do feel as though I'm a very anxious person, which I think a lot of people can relate to. I think that, kind of tying back into wanting to cook and be a chef, I didn't want to deal with people. I was afraid to talk to people. I was really afraid of even ordering my own food, going to restaurants. I would prefer to sit outside. I I would give my cards to my friends and ask them to buy things for me because I was so deathly afraid of speaking to people. Um, I was very, very afraid. I don't know. I don't know why. That's just the way that I was. Um, and that sort of put me in line to stay behind the scenes and not really try to put myself out there. And if I ever did put myself out there, it was in a rude way, or like, let me make you laugh way. But, or let me disrespect you way. And I regret that, but nobody's perfect, right? But anyway, the kitchen thing was fantastic. I loved cooking. I had a passion for cooking. But it really left me wanting more. It kind of turned a passion into a job, which, kind of sucked. But hey, not everything in life is perfect. But I just remember being so envious of the servers and or even like the hosts or the bus boys or whatever. Okay, dude, come on. I'm sorry, buddy. Because I wanted to see their face. I wanted to see the customer's face. Like, hey, I just made that. Like, can I see you? Can I watch you smile if it makes you smile? Do you like it? Can I enjoy watching you enjoy something? And I thought to myself, I will never be able to do that or have any job where I'm talking to people because I'm so afraid to talk to people. And there we go. There goes the cutting. I think I have a setting in my microphone that you should pretty much just be able to hear me. I don't know. But hey, if it's messed up, it's messed up. I'm sorry. This is my first video. I'll figure it out. But I don't even remember where I was. So I basically just told myself that's not possible for me. I'm going to be one of those guys that's just and I'm not trying to put cooks or chefs down. I mean, that's obviously not where I'm going with this, but in my own way, I was constantly trying to find a job or something that would put me in a position where I wouldn't have to interact face to face with people on a regular basis. So, and I started hating myself for it. I ended up developing a real bad hatred for myself, that I couldn't stand it. Like my phone would ring, I'd never answer it. I'd apply for jobs or whatever, and I could never go to the interviews. I was just a mess. So probably around like 18 or 19, I stopped working in kitchens, and I told myself, like, I'm gonna get a job where I was just so over it. I was just so tired of it. I'm getting a job where I 100% have to talk to people. And that's what I did. So I got a job at a hotel. I started working front desk. And that, if you have a social anxiety or a fear of speaking or answering the phones, that's the perfect job, in my opinion, to get, because that's what you're doing all day, every day. And it really broke me out of my shell. And after I learned how to talk to people, it like really helped. It really helped me. It really helped me navigate not only just obviously my work life, but also, my everyday life. I went to college for a little bit, but I never graduated. I probably went for like less than, I don't even know what a semester is. I'm that uneducated when it comes to that, which is so funny when you look at my partner. But I really, really struggled with that. And that job helped me find my voice. And I was able to, break out of my shell a little bit. So that's kind of like a quick synopsis of my history and my goals or whatever. Okay, right. Okay, got it. And I really want to talk about something that happened earlier this year, which is one of my biggest failures. So in around January of this year, I'm still doing the content creating for my main job. I'm also, helping with property management stuff. I don't want to get too clear, for privacy's sake, but overseeing properties. And I had a very secure job. I was very happy. Come on. Okay. Come on. Come on. And doing the content creation, the social media marketing, whatever. I'm just looking to make sure I'm still good on battery and time. Yep. Um, and I I was like, okay, this is cool, but what like I said earlier, I'm not educated. I mean, I've done like specific courses for social media content creation strategy classes, like Google certification, like those kind of things. I'm sorry, dude, you got to get out of here. Um, and I've been successful with that, and it's gotten me business. It's gotten me. I mean, I'm basically like a well, not basically. I am an independent contractor for social media for my clients, and it's great. But I always thought to myself, okay, but I'm not like a super 100% happy with it. Like, what else could I do? And for some reason, I just found myself watching all these like car sales TikToks, and I love cars. I'm a car guy. So I thought that would be great for me. I had a friend, which I'm not going to say the dealer. I'm not going to say his name, like I said, because of privacy sake. But I had a friend that was working there, and he's like, "Dude, I can get you in. Like, it's so easy." Like, I'm like, "All right, bet." Um, I put in a horrible notice for my previous employer slash business. I don't even know the word, but I just basically told him like, "Look, I'm not even giving you a full week or 2 weeks. Like, I'm leaving. I'll give you about 4 days." They did the right thing. They said, just dude, we don't know what else you want. Like, just go. Like, and I started selling cars. Um, wow. That sucks. I hated that. And I'm not talking like, please do not, if there's out of all the 2 or 3 people that watch this, if you're in car sales, I am not. You are awesome. You're fantastic. You're a great individual. Go you. Everybody has to do what they have to do to make their money. I'm not shaming you. Do your freaking thing, dude. I'm just saying for me personally, I did not like it. And I'm going to talk about why. So the reason why I didn't like it is, I mean, I kind of gave that whole preface of like the anxiety and having issues with talking with people in the beginning to kind of lay a foundation of that's one of the other reasons why I wanted to do car sales as well. Also because it's pretty lucrative. There's stories of people making a lot of money. And I mean, obviously, money's great. Well, it's not great, but we all need it, right? So I started selling cars. And I don't want to say I was like really good, but I was pretty okay. I had the comments of like, are you sure you haven't worked at another dealership before? Or, that kind of thing. And that made me feel good. But also I wasn't that good. I mean, I was good in the sense of I saved up a little bit of money from my previous job. And I'm like, okay, if I don't get paid for like a month or two, I was watching all these things online of like, oh, well, if you don't work, it's not going to work for you or whatever. So I'm like, all right, well, let me save up a little bit. I didn't even touch that money, which I was like, whew, thank God. And I made a pretty good amount of money in the process, which kept me there for the little while I was doing that. But it really just wasn't for me. I didn't feel good at the end of the day saying, hey, I'm in car sales. Let me sell you a car. I was by no means am I trying to make it sound like I was beating the top salesman my first month. I was not. I mean, I was not. I was making commission. I mean, which was pretty good. The way that that specific dealer worked was you have to sell a certain amount of front end gross or a certain amount of cars. Who cares? That's not the point of this conversation. But I hit it. I hit it for the time that I was there, and it was fantastic, and I was happy. And I was telling my partner like, this is great. I found my thing. I love talking to people. I'm talking to people all day. I'm having conversations. I'm calling. It's great. And I was lying to myself. I hated it. I was in a bad mood. I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I was hardly home. I'm in my lovely apartment now, and I would never have the opportunity to try to engage in something like this if I were still there. Now, I know there are some guys or some gals that do, and I just couldn't be one of those people. I know that there's content creators that are in car sales that do that because that's how I got turned on to it. Simply what I'm saying is I could not. I also couldn't stomach the work in some areas. The people that I was working with were fantastic. I love them. I miss them. They were great. You know, you're working with a wildly diverse cast of characters at a car dealership. You know, you're dealing with the feisty one, the older guy that really doesn't know what he's doing, but he's got so many clients that he's constantly selling cars. The young buck, all the whatever. And they were great, and they made me feel right at home. My managers were cool. One of them was kind of, like an ass, but it wasn't bad. I liked it. They made me feel as at home as I could feel with a job. The only issue was just didn't work for me. Like I said prior, I couldn't stomach some of the things. I couldn't stand. And I'm not going to say lying. I never lied at a dealership. I never lied. But I did not, how would I want to say this? I did not like the feeling of suggesting something to someone that I would not do. I don't like that. If I wouldn't do it, I wouldn't want someone to do it. If I couldn't tell my mother, do this, I wouldn't want to do it. And that's unfortunate because when you're really young and you're just trying to make some money, like you got to do what you got to do. And I did that a couple times and I really didn't like it. And I tried to quit multiple times at that place actually. And which obviously I did because I'm no longer there, but I tried to quit multiple times. Like I had a manager, let's call him Mike. And Mike was like crazy. Like he was a crazy guy. He's been in car sales his whole life. And he was just a wild, wild dude. He was not coming in drunk like in the show or in the movie or what you would expect. He was not coming in high. He wasn't like, he was just very extreme. And our personalities clashed a lot. But we made it work. And he ended up being one of my favorite people. He also ended up losing his position shortly after I left. So, I don't know if that says anything. I think now he does. I don't even know what he does now. But one of my friends was like, yeah, dude, he's not even in charge of like being. Anyways, not to get too specific, but I thought he was great. And I was like, man, this is not for me. I'm so sorry. One day I went to Costco. I was making pretty decent money at the time. I bought him like a $150 bottle of whiskey to say like, hey, thank you. Like you helped me make some really good bread, but like, I'm out of here, dude. Like I can't do this. And he convinced me to stay. And he was like, you're leaving? Really? Okay. All right. Well, I mean, hey, I think that's a huge mistake. And he just said everything that I needed to hear to stay for a little bit longer. In the meantime, I tried to find other jobs at other dealerships because somehow in my mind, I did still want to do car sales, but I just wanted to do it at a dealership that wasn't so crazy with the hours. Like I remember I had like this leads back into the anxiety stuff. Okay, here we go, baby. My last day at that dealership, I had one of the worst panic attack, anxiety attacks I've ever had in my entire life, to the point where I was sitting in my car and I was so over this job at this point and I just wanted to leave. I just wanted to go and I had to work and I had been taking a bunch of time off, and I already needed to figure out what I was going to do. And I just remember getting out of the car, and everything was just like so wobbly, and I'm like, man, what's going on? And I just remember just sitting in the like getting into a car. I parked at like the end of the parking lot, and then along the way to the entrance there's a car here. I mean, it's a dealership. I mean, it's full of cars, right? So I just remember I would get in one car and then get out and walk a little bit and then have to get in the other one, because I was going to fall down. I was really about to pass out thinking about walking into this dealership and doing what I'm about to do. Not sound like a huge baby about it. I mean, I know people do it every single day, but it just, for some reason, it really was conflicting with my soul. I couldn't do it with everything in my being. I mean, whatever you want to call it, I couldn't do it. And my coworkers, they were fantastic. They're like, Rudy, are you okay? Do you need to sit down? Why don't you go home? And I did. I went home and I never came back. I left and I never came back. And I did a sorry, hey, I'm sorry, I'm never coming back text to that manager. And, it's a high turnover career or job, whatever you want to call it. They understand. So after that, I was lost. I went through probably a 3-month slump. I don't know how my relationship survived it, honestly. My partner is an amazing person, and they stuck it out with me. And I was just a depressed mess. I ended up doing construction, weirdly enough. If anyone knows me in real life, they know, like, what? Like, what? You did what? Yeah, I did construction. I did that for about a month and a half. That was actually pretty fun. I actually really enjoyed that. I learned a lot. I was working with one of my family members, so I was making money and also kind of like having fun at the same time, family time. It was actually pretty okay. I thought that's what I was going to do after this. And surprise, surprise, I ended up at another dealership in the in-between phase. So basically, to kind of like encapsulate this, if anyone is actually following along, I went from one dealership to construction to about a week off to go on vacation to go to Mexico with my father to another dealership. Yeah, I don't know either. And that was in 6 months. That was within a 6-month time frame. I was going insane. So I ended up back at another dealership, and that one was 10 times worse than the first one. Not schedule wise. That dealership was so bad that they weren't even open on Sundays. So I'm like, cool, I get Sundays off and like one other day in the week. They gave me my own desk, my own computer, my own cell phone, like a company cell phone, which obviously this is not it, but you know what I mean? And that was actually pretty great. I thought for a minute I was going to stay there, but the same thing, I just hated it. And the actual type of dealership that I was working at is more so not, I mean, I don't want to come off, insensitive or whatever, but we're not so focused about you getting the car you want like it was at dealership A, which was the first one. Dealership B is like, are you getting approved? Are you getting approved? And like I said, I do not mean to be insensitive. I'm just being blunt and stating the fact. The majority of the people, now I'm not going to say every single person, but the majority of the people I worked with at dealership A were paying cash or, but you did have those instances where people are rebuilding their credit. This is not what the conversation's about. And there's also, this conversation is not to prevent people from working at a dealership or construction. Do it. I mean, I'm just a baby. I couldn't. You maybe can, and you may be able to be great. Just not me. Unfortunately, I'm just not that cool. So, anyways, I probably lasted at the second dealership for like a little less than a month. I sold like 6 cars and got paid minimum wage for it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving. There was also some weird relationships there where I'm like, man, there's 4 cars out here and they're all getting ready because they're sold. Like, who sold these? I'm like, who sold these cars? Oh, one guy did. And the one guy sold them to the manager. Manager. The one guy sold 4 cars to the manager's family. Now, I'm an idiot, right? But if it were up to me, if I was a manager at a dealership and I have 3 guys that work at this dealership, 2 of them being brand new, one of them that's already hit their quota and on track to make like 11, 12, 13 grand for this month, and these other guys that are making minimum wage, I'd probably try to like even it out so they stay. I don't know. Like I said, I'm an idiot. I don't know how dealerships work. I just worked at one for a little bit. Not the point. But the point, what is the point? I don't even remember what I'm talking about. But I left that place. No surprise. Shocker, shocker, right? But I called the very first person I started doing social media for. And overseeing their property. And I told them, I said, because they had treated me really good, by no means perfect. Every, nothing in life is perfect, but the way she ran her ship, she was about as close to perfect as possible. And I left that, and I'm not ashamed that I did. I'm ashamed the way that I did it, but I'm not ashamed in the sense of doing it. I'm really glad that I did. It was important for me to do it. And I was still working in the dealership, and I basically called her and I said, hey, can we grab a bite to eat? Can we grab lunch? And we did. And we had a conversation. And the conversation basically went about, as well as you would expect it to go, I guess. Let me make sure that I'm still recording. Cool. What did I say? How did the conversation go? The conversation went great. Long story short, I'm working with her again. And others, obviously, but she was like my bread and butter. If you've seen Mad Men, she's like my lucky strike. So it's like, she anyways. So I'm not ashamed of myself for making the effort to want to try to do something new. I failed. I failed at it. 100% without a doubt, it was a failure. But I learned a lot, and I met a lot of cool people, and I didn't go broke. It was great. Like I said, met a cool cast of characters, got really close to one of my family members. It was great. That entire 6-month period. So I really just wanted a way to tell that story. I don't know if that was easy to follow along or not, or just like a total freaking mess. But that was it. Intro to anxiety, I guess you would say, from my perspective. Not diagnosed, but my life experience. A lot of it developed as an adult, surprisingly. I've always had, like I said, I've always had anxiety when I was a kid, social anxiety, but actually really, even just, another thing as an adult is flying. I flew I wasn't, flying from LA to New York every other day as a child, but I did a pretty decent amount of flights, when I was like 15, I went to like LA to New York. No issue. That's a pretty long flight. We had to stop in Pennsylvania, and we went to anyway. No matter. But I was fine then. a random day when I'm like 23, 22, 23, flying to Mexico for an uber easy 3 hour, 2.5 max hour flight. Total panic attack. Total, I'm trapped. I need to get out. I need to breathe. Me thinking I'm going to be trapped in this plane for 2.5 hours. Kill me, bro. Kill me. I can't do it. I did, and I continue to do it. But my anxiety controls me. It controls so many levels of my being and who I am. And has and is and will continue to. Just like everyone, and by no means am I a special snowflake that, I'm the only one that this happens to. But I do. Let me make sure that I'm still good here. Yes, I am. I'm nervous. I've never done this before. I always double, triple, quadruple check. I would hate to sit here for now 36 minutes and not be talking to anyone. But yeah, my parents just, they've been going back and forth to Mexico a lot. And that has been a huge source of my anxiety as well, thinking about flying there. My family was already there in Mexico when that anxiety, panic attack, whatever you want to call it, happened. They were already there. And they told me, they said, hey, Rudy, like, why don't you come visit and, just fly and, we'll all fly back together, but come. And I've never flown by myself, but in my head, it was easy. I mean, it's like, it was probably like a super early flight. It's like the bars don't open in airports until like 7, I think, or like 8. And I already was like, putting beers back, gonna get on the flight. And I had never had that feeling before on a plane. I thought like this is gonna be easy. I'm on vacation. Woo, I'm gonna have some beers, whatever. I got onto the plane, or I was waiting for the plane, and I was not nervous. I'm like standing in line, and I'm like, okay, gonna get on the flight, whatever. I was by myself, just like, had a pretty good buzz going, had a few beers. A few is being very modest, but I'm waiting to get onto the plane and board, no problem. Here's my ticket. Check out what you need to check out, whatever. And I get on the plane, sit down, no problem. I'm sitting next to, this is like shortly after the pandemic. So people are still wearing masks, and people still wear masks on plane, which I totally understand. I feel like poo-poo every time I get off of a plane, but, I sat down to I wouldn't want to say older couple, but middle age, whatever. One of them, they both have masks on, and they're playing chess or something. They're playing some game where they're like moving puzzle pieces or whatever across like a checkered board. It was probably chess, but not the point. We sit down, and I want the aisle seat so I can get up and pee or use the bathroom because I've been and sit down. And I'm sitting in the seat, and I look into the aisle, and I have that like Matrix like moment of like, oh my God, like everything is like rows and rows and rows and rows. And I'm like, I need to get out of here. Like full panic, flight mode. And I look over to the lady sitting next to me, and I'm very open. Like I suck. I'm so weird because sometimes like my feelings contradict each other. I hate talking to new people, but also when I'm having a panic or having an anxiety, I find comfort in bringing it up. And I looked over at her and I said, "Man, I hate flying." Kind of like, let's break the ice a little bit and have a conversation. And she looked at me like she wanted nothing to do with me. And I'm like, oh, great. So, oh, great. I'm like, whew, not good. And I was just like thugging it out. Finally made it off the plane. We all land. My parents are there, and I'm just like in a right mood. I'm like, let me get into a shower. I need to be in a cold, because they're in a part of Mexico that's, pretty warm. I'm like, I need to get in a cold bed. I need to be by myself for a little bit because I just fully exhausted my social meter. I am donezo. And I was being super rude to them, and they could feel it. They're like, "What happened?" I'm like, that was one of the worst experiences of my entire life, and it really shook me up to the point where every single day I was on that trip, I cannot or how would you say, like, I'm dying waiting for the day. Every day I'm like, oh, we're getting one day closer to I have to go home. Like, I got to go home, and I'm trying to enjoy the trip, but that's a huge undertone that I know that I experience, and not only just me, but a lot of people in my life that I've talked to, that they also could relate to this, is waiting for that shoe to drop. Like, and it might not be my flight, or it might be my boss needs to talk to me, or someone texts me and said, I need to have a conversation with you later tonight. And it might not even be something bad, right? But it's scary, It's scary. Like, waiting, the inevitable is coming. Just like dying. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, I'm recording this one day, I'm going to die. If you are watching it, you too. But why, dwell on it if you can control it? So is that a thing that is like, is that curable? I mean, is that something that you could fix? Or is that something that you just deal with? Right? Because I know, as well as a lot of people that, could relate to that. No, there's ways to help it, but we're not really helping it. You know what I mean? You're making it worse, if anything, right? But is there a way to enjoy life without that? Does it take hard work? Does it take reminding yourself, writing things down? I like writing stuff down, like notes. Like when I go to the store, like a to-do list. I need this, I need that. But also, like, on my day off, like today I'm recording this video on my day off. Do this. I hung up some pictures right here. You're not gonna be able to see them, but I wanted to hang up some pictures. I wanted to clean out my little bookshelf area. I wanted to do a few things. I just got back from out of town, which you might see another video of that trip. I just got this new camera for work / myself, and I wanted to see how it works. So forgive me, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying my best to make something out of nothing, I guess you would say. But this camera's going to do a lot of heavy lifting, though. It's a great camera. So also this little microphone. It's pretty cool. I've seen people use them online, like on TikTok and on Instagram. And they're like, what would you rate yourself out of 10? What would you rate yourself? Okay, what would you think that someone else would rate you? Like, those videos are funny. What do you do for a living? I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do like weekly check-ins with myself so I can kind of like track my progress. I also want to talk about other stuff about life, that's not just specifically about myself, as much as I'd like to talk about myself and what I go through. But, I might make a video with my partner or some of my family even, so I don't know. To kind of like wrap it up, I don't want this video to be too long because I don't know if I might need to edit it. I mean, I know I need to edit some of the curse words because I don't want to have curse words on this because I'm trying to refrain from that. Just on video, not in my personal life, but just like in a video. I don't want a video of me saying "fuck" and "you," and I'm actually saying that, so I am gonna have to edit that out. But I just don't want that. I don't want like my future kids to say like, why did daddy say fuck me or fuck you? Because that's you got to lead by example, right? Um, if anyone that's not my mom or my family watch this until the end, thank you. Um, if this kind of helped you at all, it helped me. I feel a little lighter right now after having this conversation. I'm not gonna lie, even if it was just with myself and you. Uh, Thank you. Um, More to come. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna try not to talk about real people on here because it's like people I see individuals like on their Instagram story. Like I'm gonna probably post something on my personal Instagram and be like, hey, if you want to watch my my stuff, I mean, here's my channel and take a look at it, right? But I hate when people are so like vocal on Instagram. That's probably like a hot take. I mean, people pushing a certain narrative, like, I get it. If you're standing for what you believe in, I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about, like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. I'm just rambling. But I'm probably going to put a link to this video or my channel in general. So maybe people that know me, if they want to kind of get deeper dive into my brain, I'm more comfortable with showing people this than like what I do on a day-to-day basis. I feel like that's weird. Which I am going to post some vlogs, which kind of counteracts that, right? Kind of stupid to even say that. But I don't feel real comfortable. I mean, I've done it in the past, and I mean, I haven't done it too often lately just because I've been really busy with stuff, but we'll see. But yeah, the name of the channel is going to be Rudy Lee Media. Please don't try to look me up and get any. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if like one person is going to watch this or like 10 or, maybe even 100. That'd be crazy. But like, please don't look me up. I value my privacy. I know my partner values their privacy. So let's just be cool. Okay. If in this video or in any video you want to ask me a question, I mean, you can. By no means am I a professional on anything. I am just a person and not a great one. So do ask what you want, but I mean, I don't know. I'll try my best. If you think that I could give you advice, I mean, if anything, I need advice from you. But anyways, with that being said, we're approaching the 50-minute mark. I'm gonna try to stay consistent with this. I really want to. I have other goals I want to do. Maybe the next episode that I do, or next video, or next entry, will be about my goals and what I want to do, or just like how I'm feeling. I don't know. And I'm not putting a certain time limit on anything. Like, and I don't know if I've been out of focus because I keep putting this here. If I put it here, it kind of focuses on that. I don't know, dude. I'm figuring it out. I don't like having this thing clipped. I like holding it, but I kind of need like a bigger one because this looks kind of stupid. But I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest, as long as I'm just getting my point across. So yeah, that's kind of like where I'm sitting at. I would also like to have, if any of my friends would like to be on a video and we could have a conversation, I would like that too. I'd have to invest in another mic because I only have one. Or even maybe like one of my family members, I would like that. I would like to have like a kind of conversation or whatever, and I'll keep them on this page and we can kind of like look back on them and be like, man, when we were 25 or, however old, whatever my friend or family member will be like, man, remember we had that conversation. Let's show our friends or let's show our kids or whatever. And if they care. I'm doing this under the assumption that my kids will care about who I am or what I do or, whatever. I don't know. I just remember having a conversation with my mom and telling her like, man, I wish I would have loved to seen a video of my dad at 25, just talking about just like what's going on. Like, what are you doing? Like, how was it in 1990, whatever, when you were 25, Dad? Like, what were you doing then? Like he, and if I ask him, he'd be like, I don't know. So it's like my kid can know, or my friend can know, or my family member can know. Like, man, dude, this is what Rudy was doing on October 1st, 2025. He was sitting in his apartment talking to a camera like a idiot. And that concludes my first episode of the Rudy Show. Thanks, guys.